Hi Sagittarius, welcome to Yellow Cardinal Tarot with me. My name is Carol, and this is going to be a general reading for mid-November 2024. And if you're new to my channel, I want to welcome you. And as always, if you're coming back for another video or you've been following me, we are almost about a year old, this channel. I want to thank you for supporting me. It means a lot to me. Now, I do offer personal readings. I know people have been asking me, so the link is in my comments section, and it's also in my description box below if you're interested, and that'll take you to a place where all the information is there that you need. So, what are we going to do today? I don't know if you're aware, but November 15th, there is a full supermoon in Taurus. And so because these readings are coming out right around that date, I thought, we're going to pull from that magical energy that comes from the moon, and especially during a supermoon, because it really is a lot of intense energy, and you're probably going to feel it these last couple of weeks of November. And in particular, full moons bring us a time of completion, bringing closure to things. And so we're going to look at here what, maybe what needs to finally be brought here to closure, something that you're working through right now. And as you know, or may not know, when it's a full moon, the moon is opposite to the sun, and it's no surprise that the sun is going to be in Scorpio. Well, I shouldn't say it's no surprise. It is going to be in Scorpio, which means that, I talked about a lot of emotions coming up, and Scorpio is, if I had to pick the one zodiac sign that is the most emotional, it would be Scorpio. So it's kind of like a double whammy going on. So what we're going to start off with in today's reading, I'm going to use the Ehrenberg Tarot and pull 4 cards from that. I'm also going to clarify it with the Radiant Rider-Waite Tarot. And so we're going to start off with, in position number 1, what are you being asked to release during this time that's no longer serving you? Because when it is a full moon period, it's asking you to release what's no longer serving you. So we're going to really shed some light on that and look at, what is it right now that needs closure? What do you need to let go of? And it's always because there's something new that needs to come in. There's a new direction that the universe wants to take you in. And this is the energy of the full moon. So these decks have been pre-shuffled before you came on. So let's ask for, what do you need to release? What does Sagittarius need to release? And you have the Hermit card. You have the Hermit card for what you need to release. In the second position, full moon also reveals secrets. And the moon card in the deck talks about how there's things that are hidden. And so on a global level, and you can expect to have some secrets being revealed, things that have been hidden for a while, because the full moon is going to shine light on that. And so what we're going to do in the second part is we're going to shine a light on your shadow. We're going to shine a light on your unconscious, what's coming up from your unconscious to heal. And believe it or not, that is going to have a mirror effect right here with what you're being asked to release. So let's ask one card here. Before I do that, I do want to say that if you're new to shadow work, or if you need some help with shadow work, or even the term shadow, I've left a really good description for you in my I've left a really good video for you in my description box below. I've mixed that up a few times. And it's called, it's all about facing your shadow. And it's called My Powerful 4-Step Guide to Shadow Work. And it is something that I put together because I'm on my own healing journey. I've been on it for 7.5 years intensively to heal my own complex trauma. So healing all the stuff that's coming up from my shadow that I didn't know was there. So we don't know what's in our unconscious. We think we know. And our ego self likes to tell us that we know, but it's not. It's buried. We don't know what's in there. So this part is actually going to have the most impact. It's going to be driving what's happening in your life right now with you. So let's ask for, it wanted to come out right away. You have the 5 of Swords. So here's another 5. I don't want to say this, but I will. But the 5 of Swords and the Pentacle, 5 of Pentacles, and the 5 of Wands have been coming out in every reading. Every single reading has had a 5 of some sort. So you got the Five of Swords for that. On the top, we want to know what direction you're going to be taking into. This is what the full moon is all about. Let's release something. And then we're going to take you into a different direction. So where are you being taken to? You have the Lover's card. Lover's card. And then at the end, we're going to ask for some advice from the tarot. So how can you begin to heal this? This is a healing journey. This is a healing channel, and this is a process. I'm not going to give you the magic pill here, but I will give you some direction. The tarot will, and then I will give you direction. I'll provide some, a playlist or two for you at the end that's more specific to what you're working through right now. Sometimes I'll provide some some journaling prompts for you as well if you need to journal, if I suggest you need to journal from something. So can you give me one card from advice from the tarot, please, for Sagittarius? What advice do you have for them? Well. You have 3 cards. So I think I'm going to pull them in this order. You have the Hierophant in reverse. You have the Queen of Swords in reverse. And then you have the Moon card. Speaking of the Moon card, it comes out, which hasn't come out throughout these readings. This is the first time it's come out. All right, let's go to the Rider-Waite, Radiant Rider-Waite, and we'll ask for some clarification. Can you tell me more about this Hermit, please? Five of Pentacles in reverse. Talked about the 5s and how they're coming out. And the Hierophant card. Another 5. And, you know, remember that the 5s talk about conflict, but they also talk about change. And this is what this reading is all about, right? It's about what do we release? Because there's some change that's happening. We're always releasing. We're always releasing. Things new are coming in. We're learning more about ourselves. Can you tell me more about this 5, please? Ooh, there's too many cards, so I'm going to put them, there's about 5 of them there. This 5 of Swords, please. Couple cards. So I have the 7 of Cups, and you have the 3 of Cups. And that's what's sitting in your shadow. And for the top, the Lover's card, please. The 4 of Pentacles and the Ace of Wands. And how about this? I might ask for one clarifier here. I mean, I have 3 cards already, but just to bring it from a different deck. Clarify this last row here. Hierophant, Queen of Swords, and the Moon. This card looks like it wants to come out. The Hangman. The Hangman. All right. And at the end, I'll pull, I forgot to mention that, an oracle card from the Moonology deck. I thought that would be fitting. All right, let's start. So what are you being asked to release, Sagittarius? We're going to start over here. And Hermit card comes in. The Hermit card talks about literally going inwards and literally taking some time out for yourself. And you're really being asked to do that this period, these next few weeks especially. And I think for a lot of us, there's been a lot going on, and specifically the U.S. elections, I think, have shaken a lot of people up. And I think it's time to just kind of pull back your energy, because we can really get caught up in, especially, you know, just the sort of the divisive nature of it all. And it's going to become more prominent, I think, as, you know, time goes on. But how people are kind of at each other. And I mean, it's always been there. We have the haters, but I find that you have to really pull back your energy, and you have to watch your energy during a time like this. And because it's a time to go inwards. It really is a time to focus on yourself rather than what's going on in the outer world. And this literally means take time out to be alone. That's what the Hermit card is. And I think it's time to get in touch with this particular emotion that's coming up for you right now. And it's in reverse, so there's a resistance on your part to looking at it, but in an upright position, it's the Five of Pentacles. And this is the card of these individuals that are, not dressed properly for the weather. And they're not feeling like they can go inside this church and ask for some help. And so it really is a card of unworthiness and not feeling good enough. And sometimes even just the whole idea of taking time out for yourself and putting yourself first. Like we tend to like be really busy and serve other people. And this Hermit card is really a time of, now it's time to serve yourself. And I know it feels at first like, if you're not used to it, it feels so hard to put yourself first. It feels so selfish. But there's really a part of you that needs to start to put yourself first, because there's some unworthiness that needs to be dealt with, and it needs to be felt. And it comes from that emotion of shame that we all carry around with us. Not something we're born with, but we've been given it by other people that had shame, especially when we were younger growing up. And the next card comes out is the Hierophant. And I think the Hierophant is here and it's in a reverse position because again, there's like a resistance to seeing it. But the Hierophant speaks about this individual that's teaching a lesson to these disciples, and they're very much like they're sponges, right? And I picture this as a parent or a caretaker growing up, and here you are, and they're telling you what's right and what's wrong, and your sense of obedience, and what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do. And we take that and we bring it into adulthood with ourselves. And oftentimes when it comes to going inwards, when it comes to dealing with your own stuff, when it comes to healing and putting yourself first and going inwards and taking time to yourself, there's a part of you that has been told growing up that, you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to put yourself first. And you just have to start kind of looking at those contracts or what kind of ideas are spinning in your head. Even when I'm sitting here telling you need to take time for yourself. What have you been telling yourself? Or better yet, what has your ego self been telling you? And what's she talking about? I don't have time for that. I don't have time to take time for myself. Like, what am I going to do? How am I going to stop being busy? And those are the kind of things that we tell ourselves that we've heard when we were younger. And this card to me is all about a wiring. It talks about how we were wired when we were younger. So what is it about yourself that is wired to not take out time for yourself, to not put yourself first? So let's look at what's coming up from your shadow that needs healing. And, it's probably going to relate to this shame that's coming up, this unworthiness, maybe why you don't take time out for you don't want to. There's some kind of a message that you've been wired to think that, no, I can't do this. We have the Five of Swords here, and it's the first card in the shadow, which is your unconscious, the secrets that your shadow wants to reveal to you during this full moon period. You have this individual that's grabbing onto that other's hand, and it insinuates that there's a real power struggle going on here. And I call this my shame card. And, it's that battle of the swords, battle of that mental energy. And, when you were younger, maybe you were in an environment where you were very controlled and it's almost like, I think that's why the Hierophant card comes in, right? Because like we were sponges when we were younger, so we just obeyed. And again, because we might have come from a very strict environment, a very controlling environment, maybe a bullying environment, it really makes us feel like we don't matter. It really makes us feel like we don't matter, and that's where unworthiness comes from, and that's where the shame comes from. That's why I call it the bully card. It's not so much about the bully, but it's about the victim of the bully that I'm referring to here, where the bully is giving the victim the shame. And right behind it is the Seven of Cups, and this is in reverse. And remember, this is what's coming up to be released. And so in an upright position, you have this individual that's very very distracted, very, very caught up in their outside world. And when this happens in the shadow, when this comes up from your unconscious, I like to see that as a sign of, rather than being distracted in your adult world, this is all coming from your childhood and your teenage years. So I see that as a form of dissociation. And so what happens when we're younger and we feel like we don't matter, I mean, we become part of the woodwork, right? And we dissociate. We go up in our heads and we dissociate. And because we can't handle, when we're younger, we can't handle those heavy, heavy emotions of no one loving us, not mattering, shame. Imagine a child trying to feel shame. I picture those kids in the corner, like, hiding their face, and that's so much shame. And so you're being asked right now to release that. You're being asked to release it because it's coming up for you from your childhood. So there's the mirror right here. You couldn't feel it when you were younger as a child. And so now you're being asked to feel it for them. And we adults run away from our emotions, but they're the big emotions that our child couldn't feel. So now it's time for us to heal our inner children. And the last card you have is the Three of Cups. Beautiful card here that sits right at the bottom here of your shadow, right at the end of it. Right behind all of this shame and dissociation, and comes a card of feminine creativity. We all have this feminine side. We all have a masculine side as well. We just don't know it or believe it, but we do. And creativity is one of the feminine qualities, one of the feminine traits that is often repressed and pushed away. And so there's this side of you that's wanting to come out. I'm seeing there's this creative side to you. And when I say creative, I don't mean like maybe learning how to play a piano, or I just mean there's a part of you that would like to live life on their own terms. There's a part of you that would like to live the lifestyle that people would look at you and go, what is that person doing? Like, what, are they crazy? Are they nuts? Because it's very interesting that you have, if I had to mirror this exactly, on the other side of it is the wiring that you were brought up with. And here you are being asked to go inwards and put yourself first so you can heal this, because there's something here that's very creative sitting for you in your shadow. And what people don't understand is that not only do we repress our emotions and our memories and our trauma, but as you start peeling away that stuff, there's some beautiful gifts in there. There's beautiful gifts. This is a celebration of you and who you really are. Whoa, that's what's sitting in your shadow. All right, so at the top we have, what direction does the universe want to bring you in? Once you start to heal this shame, really get in touch with, how that inner child felt when they didn't matter. How you would have felt as a child when you did not matter. When you felt unloved, when you felt unworthy. When you start getting in touch with that, start to heal that. Where does the universe want to take you? And this is what happens. This is why the moon energy is coming out so strong, because it brings out these things that are hidden, these secrets, so that it can take you somewhere. And then you start off with the Lover's card. This is where the universe wants to take you. This is a beautiful kind of working out, kind of really interesting here, because the Lover's card, now you have two individuals here that are very intimate, holding hands, partners, friends, but they're sharing an intimacy here. And number 6 represents in my deck, all my 6s have a duality to it, two sides to it. And so in the Rider-Waite deck, they'll depict this as two naked individuals and very vulnerable individuals. So this Lover's card comes out to remind us that we all have two sides. We have the masculine side and the feminine side, is what I mentioned to you earlier. And so this is the joining, becoming very intimate with the two sides of you. Most of us live up in our head and are only connected to our masculine side, which is our ego self. But you have buried in your shadow, which we've already talked about, is this beautiful feminine side here. And so the universe wants to bring you to a place where you recognize, start to recognize that you have this feminine side to you. This has nothing to do with gender. Nothing. It wants for us to become whole. We join those two beautiful sides of us because we have those two parts of us. And the next card in here is the Four of Pentacles. And the Four of Pentacles talks about, this is the miser card that's holding on to these pentacles. This is like their material world, could be a job, could be your health, but they're, they're blocking like the major chakras, major energy points like the head and the heart and your feet. So it's like you're holding on to something, and I get that impression of you holding on for dear life. I mean, you already started with the Hermit card right here. In the Hermit card, they're asking you to, go inwards. Go inwards. Maybe there's a resistance to going inwards because you're holding on. You're holding on to something. You're holding on. And the universe wants you to release. Maybe you have some attachment issues. Maybe there's something from childhood that, you're holding on to. Some emotions, some big feelings. But the universe wants you. It's time now to release this. It's time to release it. Because there's an Ace of Wands at the end. And this is all about going into a new direction. And here's your Ace of Wands. The wand suit in my deck is all about going into a purposeful direction. The direction we're meant to go into. If you are on this planet, in today's day and age, if you are on Earth right now, there is a specific purpose for you. There's something you were meant to do. And it's sitting in your shadow. And we usually find the beautiful gifts that we're meant to do sitting in our shadow. And so this is a gift from the universe. It's an offer that says, here's a new direction for you. Here's a new direction to discover your femininity. Discover that feminine side of you. And that's where we want to take you to that side so you can discover it right here. Because there's something very creative that you're meant to do. And so, advice from the tarot. What sort of advice? Where do you start with this? Well, you have the Hierophant card again, sitting right underneath, and it's in reverse. And so the Hierophant really, again, for it to come out twice, and these two cards come out here. The Hierophant card, again, talks about the way that we were wired, and you need to look at the way that you were wired when you were younger. And like I said, whatever things you're saying in your head right now to yourself, that's your ego self. And that comes from a lot of times our caretakers, people that raised us. When we start to hear these messages in our head about our unworthiness, like you could be sitting here right now going, she's full of shit. She knows what she's talking about. There's nothing, even the thing like, well, what's she talking about? What's a shadow? Shadow work? What's she talking about? Or things like, there's nothing in my shadow. I'm not creative. What are you talking about? There's nothing else I'm supposed to do here. Those are all things, that's the way you were wired. People told you that there's nothing here for you, that you're not meant to do anything here. And then you get the Queen of Swords right behind it. Well, the Queen of my deck is our feminine side. The kings represent our ego self, our masculine side. And so when a queen comes up and she's in reverse here, she's the queen of authenticity, a quality of the feminine side, getting back to your truth, getting into your body. That's where the queen lives, in our body. She doesn't live up here. The ego self lives up here. The ego self is the one that's responsible for when you're younger, to keep you up in your head dissociated because you couldn't handle these big emotions when you were younger. This particular queen, she wants you to get back to your authenticity. But, she could be feeling a bit of anger, and she could, because she's in reverse here. So she's repressed. She could be feeling a lot of hopelessness. So maybe you feel hopelessness from time to time. Maybe you go into depression and you come out and you just get, I call it futility, where you're just like, oh, I can't do this. Oh, there's nothing here for me. Or, just that whole, and that's sort of, part of all the shame. Oftentimes when you write from hopelessness, I start my writing with, what's the point? Nothing's going to change. And then that leads to like, you're a piece of crap, and all those things that I was told when I was younger. And so that's the shame. The shame will come through for that. And so I think what I'm going to do, I'll put it right at the side here while I'm talking. I'm going to give you these writing prompts right here, and I think they're going to be over here actually. They're going to be writing prompts for depression and for futility, and especially when you're not thinking that you can do this work, when you just don't see a point in it. And that'll help you with your shame as well. So I'll give you that. I'll give you, I think I'll give you a playlist on shame, but I'll give you some writing prompts for, actually, no, I'll give you a playlist on journaling, and then I'll give you writing prompts on depression, or futility is what I call it too. So I got off track just a bit, and then you get the moon card. So the advice from the tarot is that they want you to begin to look at how you need to wire your, look at your wiring, and it's in reverse here. So it wants you to rewire, to work on rewiring these thoughts that you've been told when you were younger, because they're not true. And the universe wants to bring you to your authentic self and who you are. Because the moon card comes out, and I talked about that, how there are things that are hidden. There's a lot of things that are hidden about yourself that you don't know. And we just talked about that, about your creativity sitting in your shadow. There's things that are hidden in your shadow, but you gotta go there. You gotta feel these emotions that are coming up, and that's gonna peel away the layers of what's sitting in your shadow that are unhidden. Because the universe wants you to bring you to a place where you see things in a totally different perspective. Once you start to do this journey inwards, and once you start to rewire the way that you've been wired when you were younger, you're going to find that you're going to see things in a totally different perspective with this Hanged Man right here. And you're going to finally start to get to your authenticity and who you really are. And so I am going to leave you now with a Moonology card. I'm going to pick one card for you to come out as a last. I'm going to pick the one on the top here. I like that one. Okay, full moon in Aries. 68. All right, you have full moon in Aries. A fiery climax approaches. It's time to see if you've been a little too much me. There's a tug of war going on between what you want and what someone else wants. But you'll have to wait a little while to see what's going to happen next. As you wait, ask yourself if you've been handling the situation as sensitively as you could have done. If you know deep down that you've been a little rash or harsh, gone too fast or overstepped the mark, then accept that on some level you've created the situation yourself, which means you can create your way out of it too. When this card comes up, a peak is coming, and it could be fiery. All right, so Sagittarius, I want you to have compassion for yourself for what you're working through. This is by far the most difficult journey of your life, but it's the most important one. And so I will see you in December. Take care. Bye.